Okay, here we go. All right. Well, guys, I'm really this training. I'm not sure that it is anything new at all, but I want to I definitely want to have it on recording. I want to be able for you guys to go back and look at it and really think about the back office trainings. So I know that we're working on the executive charts. You're bringing people in. We're getting them started. But across the board, what I find is that people just don't know how to share the information. And then they're sending videos, they're using cliche terms like, let me just use the tools. The tools are duplicatable, tools. And I'm all about tools. I love tools. However, what I'm finding is that, for example, I did a call with a guy last night. He had actually, the guy had been on Isagenix. He lost 25 pounds, and he was telling his enrolling sponsor that he was going to have to stop doing Isagenix. And he had had back office training, in quotations, back office training. And he said, everybody I talk to, nobody wants to do it. Nobody can afford it. Where I live, people just, they just can't swing it. And I'm not going to push it on people. So he's saying all this stuff to me like a big puke out, like a big vomit. And I know you guys have heard those type of puke outs before. And so I was trying to be patient. And I asked him, I said, so who's sharing? Everybody he talks to. And I said, okay, well, how many people have you talked to? Well, probably 8 or 10. I'm like, okay. And so when you talk to those 8 or 10, who talked to them with you? What did you say to them? Well, I try to get them on the phone with my executive, but they just don't want to get on the phone with another person. So I just sent them over the links, and then they Google it. And there's bad information out there about Isagenix, blah, 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 blah. So he's saying all of this stuff. So what just happened was he literally had 8 bad experiences sharing the product. And I believe with everything that is within me, our first probably 4 years as a team, that's what we were doing. And I think that there were so many people that had bad experiences sharing the information that they started thinking, nobody can afford it. None of my team can do it. When in all reality, they were just sharing the information in a wrong way and communicating it in a way that they were not getting the results that they needed to get. So that at that point was whenever we started doing back office training. I don't know why I call it back office training. I should think of a different name for it, but we've been calling it that for so long that I'm not going to. But so then I asked his enrolling sponsor, I'm like, okay, well, did you do back office training with them? Well, I showed him how to change his auto ship, but he said he didn't really want to build a business, so I didn't go any farther from there. And I'm like, stop the madness. Okay, so what I believe is this. When you bring a new associate onto your team, it is so worth your time to spend the time to do back office training. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to go into Team Destiny Online, and we're going to talk a little bit about the purpose of it. Why are you saying this? What is your goal during this part of it? What are you trying to do? Because what we really want is we want you in the driver's seat, and then as you're developing people, you've got to teach people how to do the back office training, how you do it, so that it becomes very duplicated. Because this is the deal. You are paid every single day on the number of opportunity shares that you do. What is your paycheck linked to? Your paycheck is linked to the number of opportunity shares that you give every single day, period. It doesn't matter how much you podcast. It doesn't matter if you make 800 connections. It doesn't matter if you know what's in every product, and that the alfalfa root, see, I learned this from CB the other day, I'm so excited to know it, but that the alfalfa root is 60 feet deep, and so that's why Isagenix uses it, because it's the only sure way to get minerals. I mean, it doesn't matter what you know and all these details. If you're not sharing the opportunity, you're not going to grow. And so you can increase the opportunity shares. You can increase your income two ways. A, by doing more personal opportunity shares, which there is nothing wrong with that. And that is safe, and it's not annoying because you don't have to go through someone else to do it. And you don't have to work with anyone else, and you don't have to do conflict resolution. You can just work on your own and call people, and they either do it or they don't do it, and you don't have to listen to anyone else, and that's really comfortable. But that is not where the most money is at, because the other option is you can teach other people to do what you do. And so if you take the time to teach other people do what you do, you are definitely in geometric progression, because then you have 10 other people out there doing what you're doing. And I know that I've been saying this all the time, like duplicate, 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 duplicate. And if I ever write a network marketing book, it is going to be on duplication, because duplication is not sending the same video every single time. It's literally teaching other people to work how you work, think like you think, overcome how you overcome. When you can do that and you've duplicated your skill, you've duplicated your thought process, and then what happens is you have a massive amount of people out doing what you're doing. All of that being said, the only reason why I do back office training every single time with every single person that I bring in, never fail, unless I just can't get them after I try and try and try. The reason why I do it is for duplication purposes, period. So I want to go into this, and I want to talk to you about why we do what we do, and what to say, and all of that good stuff. But here we're going to go into, okay, we're going to go to teamdestinyonline.com. I'm going to skip over the welcome page. That's like a dot. You just read through that. But we're going to go to the getting started page. Of course, when I bring people onto Team Destiny Online, I'm not only thinking I want to duplicate on the business side, I definitely am wanting them to have an amazing product experience, because without an amazing product experience, we have nothing. And my life has changed with the product. However, what I know is once my team grew over 2,000 or 3,000 people, it was really hard for me to go in and personally really mentor everyone on the product. So of course, now we have amazing accountability groups you want to get your people plugged into. We have fat slayers, we have text groups, and so that group coaching is really helping. I wish that I would have had that 5 years ago. I think my product results would have been even better. But of course, I just say, here's the shake day, here's the cleanse day video. You definitely want to watch those. And when your products come in, you're going to call me. I'm going to coach you with them. And of course, you guys know about the Tracy O'Malley 14-day talk. And you also know about the accountability groups and fat slayers. So we get them plugged in. I tell them, here's you plus 2, them plus 2. And then I tell them they can watch an in-depth training on the compensation plan. Now, when I get to this point, this is what I really want to spend some time talking with you about, because ultimately at the end of this, whether the person I'm talking to, whether they are a product user or a business builder, I want to make sure that they know how to share the information. My first goal is going to be to get them to do to get them to do 5 to 7 3-way calls with me. That's going to be my first goal, because if I can get them to do the 3-way calls, 3-way training calls with me right out of the gates, they're going to know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and it's the best way to duplicate. Sometimes I can't get them to do that anymore. That's way more the exception than the rule. I can get almost anyone to do the training calls. I'm going to share with you how I do that. But if I can't get them to do the training calls, then I'm going to show them how to use the Fit Happy Life page, because that to me is, I would rather them know how to use that than to spew out a bunch of information. So at this point, I've asked them, or I'm asking them, with Isagenix, I know that we have the business side, and then we also have the side where you can actually refer people. So if you thought about, would you like to make money? Could you see yourself doing this to make extra money or to make a lot of money? Or would you just be more interested in maybe if someone asked you questions to know how to answer the questions? And most people, unless I've brought them in on the business side, most people are saying, oh no, I don't want to sell it, but if somebody asked me about it, I would want to answer their questions. And so when that's the case, what I do is when they say that, I literally say, because this is a takeaway from them, and sometimes when I take it away from them, then they want it back. So I'm like, okay, perfect. Well, these two sections are for business builders, so I'm going to skip right over these. If you ever decide you want to build a business, let me know. But right here, what I want to do is I want to talk to you as a product user about some things that you're really going to deal with. Then I share stories. One story that I'm sharing right now is my story of, I had a lady order retail from me last week, and she Googled, ended up on my page, order retail. And when I went to do the follow-up with her and to talk to her about seeing if she wanted to join as an associate, she told me that her cousin had talked to her about Isagenix, and then she had went and Googled it. Well, when she Googled it, but her cousin told her she didn't sell it. I don't sell it. So when she went and Googled it, she ended up buying the product from me on my website. Now, I sent her back to her cousin to sign up, but some people might not have done that. And so I believe with everything that's in me, that is happening over and over and over and over again. People don't know what to say, so they're not saying anything, or they're saying too much. So I communicate that. So I'm telling the product user, okay, this is what happens. And I tell them it's inevitable that people are going to ask you about what you're doing. It's going to probably happen in the next 3 days. And when they ask you, what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to answer their questions. So you can get me on a 3-way call with them, but that's a little bit awkward because they're your friend. If they've asked you a question and you say, oh, let me get my good friend Amy on the phone, just because of network marketing in the United States, they're probably going to bristle on that. So what I found is that if we can do 3-way training calls with you, I can get you to a place that when someone asks you a question, you can answer it right, Johnny, on the spot, right then and there, and it's going to save you time. So then I reiterate, the 5 to 7 people that you're looking for, you're not looking for a prospect. I could care less if the person's a prospect. I could care less if they're signing up. I have one goal, and that goal is for me to train you how to answer questions so that as a product user, you have the ability to answer them so you can get your stuff free. Are you open to that? How do you feel about that? So it could be your aunt. I literally will tell them your aunt. It can be your grandma. I don't care who it is. It's a non-prospect. I don't care. I just want them to listen, and I want them to ask some questions. So can you think of a couple nice people that would let you listen? I would like to do 5 to 7, but let's start with 2. Who are the 2 nicest people that would just listen? And typically, they immediately will say, oh, well, so-and-so and so-and-so asked me about it. So then I'll say to them, okay, so do you think that you could get them to listen really in the next 24 hours so that as we start doing your curiosity posting and people start asking you, you know what to say? Would they just listen? So then you're planting that seed and you're getting those 2 names initially, and then you're really following up then and getting those training calls booked, knowing that every person that you train, you're duplicating. Not to mention, even these non-prospects, when you share the information, if you share with 5 to 7, you do 5 to 7 training calls, most likely that person will become a consultant. That's what that looks like. So I help them understand. I help them know what to say. That, just tell them you're just looking for training. If they say, I don't want to buy it, you're going to be like, that's fine, because all I'm doing is looking for training. Typically, they are way more open to this than getting a prospect on the tail end to get on a call with me. I cannot tell you how much this has changed my business. I look back on the associate that I talked to last night. If he would have done this to begin with, what would have happened is when the people asked him questions, he would have known what to say and they would have signed up. They are only arguing the price because he didn't know how to overcome it during, he didn't know how to overcome it. So that's kind of what that looks like. And then I have them print out the 3-way call outline. I once again ask them if they're comfortable. Most people say that they are comfortable to do the training calls. Sometimes some people will say they're really not comfortable. Not very many people, but sometimes they do. And I'm like, okay, perfect. So and then I go to this and I say, okay, this is the reason why I feel like you should do these training calls, because what's going to happen is we're going to curiosity post. Can't believe how great I'm feeling. I'm already down blank pounds. Amazing. Completely sold on nutritional cleansing. What's going to happen then is people are going to ask you about it. When they ask you about it, whenever they ask you about it, then you're going to say to them, hey, Jane, it's nutritional cleansing. Can I call you? Because you've had the training, you're going to be able to just call them and answer their questions. And then what I do at that point then is I go ahead and I show them Fit Happy Life. And I show them where that's at. And particularly if someone says, no, I'm not comfortable doing the training calls, then I say to them, okay, perfect. So if you're not comfortable doing training calls, then what I would love for you to do is when someone asks you about Isagenix, just say to them, I'm really new, but I have a community page. I'd love to add you into it. Do you mind if I do that? And then all you're going to do is go in and add them to this page. And whenever you add them, I'm going to see that and I show them how to add them into that page. So typically I can get that product user to do one or the other, either agree to add people into the page, that's option B and not the best option, or option A, do the training calls with me. That is the soul. When I'm doing the back office training, that is my goal. My goal is to pull those training calls out, and my goal is to show them on the second case scenario how to use the Fit Happy Life page. Now I want to go back, because if it's a business builder, then I look at it a little bit differently. So if they say, I want to build a business, I'm like, okay, great. Let's look at this then. And we talk about the memory jogger, and then very briefly, and then we go down here and we talk about the Crystal Executive Plan. So I talk to them about projecting this out with people that they think would be amazing at the business. So it's no different than the product user, except for I add in this piece. So then I have them fill out who they think would be great at the business. And I literally go ahead and make a list of that. Then I explain to them how if this is their friend Pat and this is their friend Bob, and Pat takes this spot and Bob takes this spot, as they go in and they're filling out the rest of their tree, then how leveraged it's making these people because of what they're planning on doing. So I explained to them then that right now is our very best time to put together our sales force of people that could really build under your team. And then I try to get them to get some of those people on the phone with me or on a video chat with me. So who do you think would be amazing at the business? Who are your two best out of everybody we talked about? Oh, well, it's Joe and Bob. I'm like, great. Do you think that you can get Joe and Bob to get on a video chat with me so that we can really talk to them? So they're going to be receiving, as you start getting product results, they're going to be receiving a lot more from you. Could you get them to get on a video chat with me? So I'm giving them a vision and then the baby step of the two business builders. Then we go on down. I show them the same thing about learning how to do the product. And I also ask them to do the 5 to 7 3-way product calls. So the business builder is doing both, because the bulk of their work is going to be in the product. Ultimately, everybody says. And so I'm going to train them how to do those product talks. But at the same time, I'm well aware of the fact that if they really do want to make six figures, they have to have a couple business builders. So then we're looking for the business builders. So my goal in going over this with someone that wants to build a business is to get their Crystal Executive chart filled out, to get an appointment with their top 2 business builders, and then get an appointment with their top 2 product users. Now, the follow-up on this is important. I mean, just the fortunes and the follow-up, because you're going to go over this with them and they're going to say yes, yes, but what you want to remember is there's lots of life in there. So, for example, we're getting ready to run the 11-day challenge on the 28th. So Angel and I worked with a girl on her team, Lisa, and Lisa was kind of dragging her feet, getting her training calls done. And so yesterday I had Angel call Lisa, and I just told her, listen, you need to tell her that we're getting ready to really post about, Angel, come here. We're getting ready to really post about the 11-day challenge. And when that happens, she's going to have a lot of people asking questions. So she needs to get trained so that she knows how to answer the questions. So then she called Lisa and said that to Lisa, and Lisa ended up doing her first 2 training calls because she doesn't want to lose any people in that gap. And so you will use your chart, and that's really, you're going to look at the people that are on your Crystal Executive chart, just kind of going back a little bit, and whoever they are, you're thinking, have they had back office training? And then have they done their product training calls? You've got to really look at that. I believe that I don't want to use the word believe. I know that this has been what has made our cycles. I mean, right now we're double where we were last year at this time. And I know that this is what has made that difference. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to get back to you. Okay. So questions about any of that at all? And I know it's nothing, I don't think it's anything necessarily new. I think you guys already know this, but it's just really being intentional about why you're doing it and really pulling those names right at the very beginning. I just think we have this window of opportunity that if we can teach them how to answer those questions right off the bat, that they'll do that. So, okay, questions at all?
I'm glad you went over it. It was good to reiterate it and just make sure we're doing the right things. So that was good.
Good. Awesome. All right. Anybody else have questions or anything? No. Perfect. Well, thank you guys. And if you do need anything, just holler back at me, okay?
Okay. Thanks. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.